Hi everybody! I just wanted to show you my new rack. I got a new rack and more tanks. Very, very, very excited. So my old stand was starting to show some bowing, and so I was pretty concerned about just kind of its stability and everything. And so my husband and I decided to go ahead and upgrade me. I'm really excited about it. So I went from 3 tanks to 8. The Petco dollar per gallon sale happened at like just the right time. So that was great. We got this rack. It's the Trinity Pro version. So it's supposed to hold, we got it from Home Depot, and it's supposed to hold 1,000 pounds per shelf. I knew I didn't want tanks super low towards the ground because they're too hard to take care of. And I knew I didn't want tanks above my head because they're also too hard to take care of. I got the idea for the lighting, which is this lighting here. Oops, sorry, just getting the box. Honeywell LED 4-foot linkable shop light. Got it from Sam's Club. And I got the idea from Primetime Aquatics. Thank you very much, Primetime Aquatics. They talked about stuff from Costco to use for your aquarium hobby. And they were $20 each. And they are secured up to the top with the S-hooks that came with and a zip tie on each side. And I'll turn them on in a little bit so you can see what they look like. But I've got the same down here. My only concern, well, this box is gonna go. My only concern is because I've got the breeder box and tanks and water changes, is the plug, which goes up to here, is right here. And I worry about drips. So I got some aquarium silicone, and I'm gonna actually put it kind of around this whole section here, and then actually onto here a little bit to block it from going. There's like the hole for hanging so it can get into the works. So I'm gonna put some like right here to hopefully block it from potentially running into there, and so it'll just, any potential water will just drip down here. And then I'll kind of do a little bit of the same thing over here, and I'm gonna put a plug cover in there. This is where you can link them, and so I just want to make sure, not so worried about this one because it's higher up, but just to make sure I don't get water in them. But if the worst should happen, they were at least only $20. Here's what the bulbs look like. So it's 2 rows of LEDs, and I'll turn them on in a minute so you can see what they look like. I also got these bins at Sam's Club. I was going to use them for something else, and they actually fit down there perfectly. That's very exciting. This is my supplies cart, and sorry, just trying to get where you can see the whole thing. I got my buckets on there, and all my little doodads and nets, and all my water conditioners, and then I actually have my foods in here, and like food and feeding supplies and some other miscellaneous stuff in there. So that works. And then I can use the shelf over here for a couple odds and ends for supplies and cleaning and stuff like that. I'm really, really, really excited about this. Right now, I've got, sorry, I'm getting my little footstool so I can show you. I've got the air pump set up on top with the gang valves running everything. This is a Tetra Whisper air pump. I want to say it's the 60, and currently it's running all of these with no problems. And actually, if you look here, every once in a while you'll see the bloop of extra bubbles like that, which means it's a little too much air, but I've got it as regulated as possible. I don't have any check valves because the pump is above the water, so I don't have to worry about water siphoning back into them. And I've got all my lines just kind of running. I decided to go with the Aquarium Co-op sponge filters. I really like them. They're coarse, They've got the Nicest Never Clog air stones inside of them. And I feel like they're running really well. I feel like they're going to be easy to clean. They sank right away, which I loved. I don't feel like they're going to get clogged up a lot or very easily. So that's great. And I figured I was going to need more sponge filters for more tanks. So I decided to go ahead and switch over and give them a try. And I like them so far. So these tanks were set up. This is like my little information station. It has food and stuff in it, like human food in it. But I put a little whiteboard up, and these are posties and stuff that were on my other tanks. But these tanks were set up on November 8th. Most of them, 5 of them. And then the other 3, which I had moved over from my existing tanks, were set up about a week or week and a half later. So they're all kind of ready. The only thing I haven't done yet is set up the breeder boxes with the airflow. So there's nothing in them except for snails and hornwort right now, because I don't want to risk having any fish and the water flow not going through them. And then I have a board to go up on top here. Those are just some random like foam matting, just to kind of keep things a little bit quieter, because this is in our dining room, and so it's kind of in a main living area of the house, and so we didn't want to have it too noisy. Sorry about the reflection, but it's kind of the best way to get the lighting in here. And then I've got the power strip set up over here on this cabinet, and it's got the lights and the pump plugged in, and it's got a few outlets extra for anything else I might need. But I'm super stoked. So I've kept up with the lettering system. So the tanks on the top shelf from left to right are A, B, C, D, and on the bottom shelf are E, F, G, and H. That way I can just keep some records like I like to do. A and B are my IFGA type lower swordtail guppies. Tank A is grow outs right now, and it's going to be my females and my primary breeding colony. And tank B is my additional males grow out, and right now I have my adults in there to kind of start a little bit of a secondary colony, just kind of for backup. And I do have some fry in there. You'll see a video later on some of the new fry that are in there. E and F are my gold blonde Japan blue double swordtails. E and F, oh wow, alphabet. I know my alphabet. C and D, tanks C and D, are from my gold blonde Japan blue double swordtails. And so C is my additional males grow out, and I'll end up putting a female or 2 in there just so I have a little bit of a backup. And then D is my primary breeding colony with my females and 3 males and fry. And so they're doing really good. I got a couple females that are getting pretty close to dropping, so that's very exciting. So they're doing really well. They've handled the changeover really nicely. E is a mixed colony from some of my summer tub pond guppies, and it's all blondes, and I have 1 gray-bodied Japan blue magenta cross male in there, and a gold blonde Japan blue double swordtail male in there. F is my gray mutts colony. G is my blonde mutts colony. And they're doing really well. They really flash in the sun really nicely. It's kind of fun and pretty, and they're doing really good. And then H is a cross that I'm doing between my velvet blues, which are a cross between Japan blues and a Japan blue male and a panda female. I've got a gray-bodied Japan blue male in there. I've got 2 panda type females, which are sisters of the velvet blue male. And then in the breeder basket, which is only temporary, I've got a panda style female and a gold blonde Japan blue double swordtail male. And so basically this has got a lot of Japan blue genetics in it, and I'm really excited to see kind of how it turns out and what it looks like, what the offspring look like. I'm really looking forward to having like a really nice mixed blues colony. So, but it's going to take some time. I just set these guys up when these tanks got set up, and so that's going to take time to see that. And then I just have supplies down here. All of my supplies and additional stuff is all in these tubs. And yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm going to be able to move forward with some breeding projects now that I've got some more tanks. In these lower tanks, I probably am going to set up 2 of those Marina, or I think they're Fluval brand now, large hang-on breeder boxes, just to allow me to either keep fry or do some specific breeding. But I have to get them. And I still have to set up the air supplies to the breeder boxes. That's going to be my project for this week. I'm also going to be setting up flaps, solid flaps that go from the top of the shelf to the tops of the tanks, because the lights on this are really, really bright. And because they're shop lights, I tend to be light sensitive because I get migraines, and so I haven't been using the lights as much. Here, I'll turn them on now so you can see kind of how bright they are. And I guess maybe for the average person, this is not that big of a deal. But because I get migraines, I tend to be really light sensitive. And so I need to block out the light a little bit to be so glaring in my face. And so I'm going to do from the top of the shelf here to the tops of the tanks, kind of on the 3 sides, to try and block it out a little bit more on both levels of the tanks, because I just need a little bit of less light. It's just a little bright for me. I will say the specs on the light are 500 watts, 5,000 lumens, which is very bright. Daylight 5,000 K. That should be appropriate for growing plants. And so I'm hoping to maybe get my hornwort to continue growing really well, and maybe even grow a few other kinds of plants in these tanks, but I'm just kind of taking it one step at a time. And then I'm just really excited. I'm so excited about this whole thing. I wanted to talk too about the specs of the weight of the shelves. So the shelves can hold up to 1,000 pounds. I estimate, so you kind of estimate that a gallon of water weighs 8 to 10 pounds, and there's 4 tanks, so that's 400 pounds plus some rocks and the breeder boxes. So kind of max, we're probably looking at about 500 pounds. I know that the shelves, that the tanks look like they are pretty uneven. Some of it is a little bit of an optical illusion. These tanks, they're the Aquarium. I got them from Petco, $1 per gallon. They're the Aquarium tanks, 10 gallons. The quality is not kind of where it's been in the past. Like, this one has like a bunch of extra silicone on the outside and like silicone drips. And I was kind of freaking out, especially when I saw this one, and it looks kind of pretty uneven. And what I ended up doing is I took my level, which is right here. Sorry, I should have pulled that out. But I took my level and I put it on the top of the tank, and it looked kind of unlevel. But then, and you can see there's like even daylight in between them, and like if you did it flat there, it looks kind of funky. But if you actually do it on the lower level, well, this one's like not as great, but it's not as bad. There is some bowing to the tank, to the shelves. I mean, that's kind of inevitable. But what I also did is I put some 1/2-inch plywood on the top of the shelf for the tanks to go on top of. I didn't want them sitting on just the bare wires like that. I wanted them to be fully supported. I might have gotten a little bit more straight support if I had done 3/4 inch plywood, but I didn't, and so it is what it is. But doing the level on the lower side of the tanks show that they're not as unlevel as they appear. The top black rims were not put on kind of as well, like in terms of workmanship quality, and so it's a lot more unlevel. So it creates a little bit of an optical illusion. You can see that there's in the water levels there's some differences, but I don't know what else I can do about that. This was the shelving unit that worked for us, and it is the Pro version that can support more weight than the other version can, and so that's kind of the best that I can do. Sorry, I'm a little random. I'm just kind of trying to remember all the things that I wanted to talk about. Getting back to the lighting a little bit. The lighting, I think, washes out the Guppies a little bit. You don't see their colors as nicely as with the natural light. Especially some of these guys down here where they've got some really, really nice metallic colors. It just kind of washes them out a little bit. So I just have to kind of keep that in mind, especially when I'm looking at choosing breeders. I kind of end up working more with the daylight because it shows their colors, I think, a little bit more true. But they were $20 a piece, and they're going to be good for growing plants. And so I kind of couldn't beat that price. Like some of these plant growing lights for like the high tech stuff and for like planted aquariums and stuff. I mean, you're talking like for a 10-gallon tank, $50 a light. I don't have that kind of money. And so I went with the shop lights, and I think they're going to do just fine for my purposes. But anyway, this video is running really long, but I just wanted to give you a little tour of my new fish rack because I'm really excited about it. And I'm really happy with the products that I chose so far. And I'll just kind of keep you guys updated. I'm going to add those flaps, and I'll show a little video once I get those light blocker flaps added. And I just wanted to show you guys, and I'm really excited, and yay, more tanks. But I'm maxed out now, and this is where I'm going to be. But I'm really excited to have the additional tank space and be able to run some more of my breeding projects that I wanted to give a try. So thanks so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing and leaving a comment below.